For the neoliberals who say that the residents of that area deserve what they are getting because they voted for President Donald J. Trump, it is abhorrent.
What's up, guys? It's your boy, Benny. We often say on this program that there are two governing philosophies about how to approach politics in America. One is America last, and one is America first. One is globalism, and one is populism, caring about your own country. And we saw them on stark relief last week. Friday, in fact, of last week, where one president representing globalism and representing America last was falling down a staircase directly on his ass. Okay. Oh, all right. Projecting strength to Putin right there. And one president was in East Palestine, Ohio, helping the downtrodden and the people who were subjected to a cruel, toxic chemical experiment, buying them Big Macs.
Special day today. How are you today? Nice to meet you.
Hello, everybody. That's a nice, beautiful looking group of people. So I know this menu better than you do, okay? I probably know it better than anybody in here. We're going to take care of the fire department.
Okay.
We're going to take care of the police department.
So Joe Biden, instead of going to a town that's a mere 200 miles from Washington, D.C., maybe a 20-minute flight on Air Force One if you have F-22 Raptors to plow the way for you, Joe Biden hasn't gone to East Palestine, Ohio. He hasn't even talked to the mayor of East Palestine, Ohio. Instead, he flew to the exact opposite end of the world. If you look on a map, what is the absolute through point as far away as you can get from East Palestine? Well, that would probably be Kyiv, Ukraine. Joe Biden staged a fake air raid while he was there to make himself look tough. And then when he got back to America, Joe Biden had to answer questions like, why were you on the other side of the world trying to create World War III when you should have been here buying McNuggets for the people of East Palestine? And Joe Biden said this.
And to travel there, and have you talked with the mayor?
I can't recall that. I don't think I've talked to the mayor. I've talked to everyone else there, and multiple times. Talked to both the senators, both governors. I've talked to everyone there is to talk to. And we've made it clear that everything is available.
Okay, you've talked to everyone that there is to talk to. Well, why wouldn't Joe Biden want to talk to the East Palestine mayor? Well, probably because the mayor of East Palestine says that Joe Biden is a hack and a fraud and spit in his face by going to Ukraine and not taking just a little trip down the road from Washington, D.C. to visit him.
Yeah, I think he has to prove himself to you. And Mayor, before we let you go, you saw President Joe Biden over in Ukraine. Did that make you feel slighted in any way? I mean, he hasn't really. Can he not hear me?
I got you, Trent. He asked, before we go, I can repeat. He said, with the president being in Ukraine today, did that surprise you?
Absolutely. That was the biggest slap in the face. That tells you right now he doesn't care about us. So
agreed.
He can send every agency he wants to, but I found that out this morning in one of the briefings that he was in the Ukraine giving millions of dollars away to people over there, not to us, and I'm furious.
On President's Day in our country.
Yeah, President's Day in our country. He's over in Ukraine, so that tells you what kind of guy he is.
Boom. It tells you what kind of guy he is. And it's a guy who can't really answer any questions on this front. Joe Biden's supposed to be old Scrapper Scranton Joe. He's supposed to be unionized bucket pail Joe, lunch bucket Joe, right? He defends the middle class and the working class, and he rides the train, and it's all just total bullshit. It's not real. It's fake. It's a persona that's been created about a guy who's never done a day of hard labor in his life, except for maybe the only hard labor he's ever done has been, stealing another man's wife. That's how you get Jill. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all a dumpster fire. It's all a disaster. Joe Biden asked on the White House lawn, when's he ever going to go to East Palestine, Ohio? This is a big ecological disaster. Man-made. Seems right up environmentalist Joe Biden's alley. What does Joe Biden have to talk about? Well, zooming. That's right.
Palestine, Ohio. Are you planning to travel to East Palestine, Ohio?
This time not. I did a whole video. What the hell? On Zoom. All I can every time I think of Zoom is that song in my generation. Who's zooming who? Let me answer the question.
The answer is that I had a long meeting with my team and what they're doing.
So, okay, Joe Biden talking about who's zooming who, which I guess is a pejorative for sex, maybe? Not the time or the place. Joe, you have dementia. That means that Joe's Praetorian Guard inside of our screechy media realizes that he is obviously quite exposed here and that this is damaging Joe Biden, so they rush in to do the one single thing that they know how to do. Blame Donald Trump.
One thing I just want to say is I do think this was an unforced error by President Biden. It was 20 days before we had Secretary Buttigieg go down, 10 days before he put out a statement acknowledging it.
Yeah.
This is Trump country. He won by 40 points. He is a president for all Americans. I believe that, but he needs to show that he is. It was time for him to be.
I don't know why they would ever vote for him, for somebody who, by the way, he placed someone with deep ties to the chemical industry in charge of the EPA's Chemical Safety Office. That's who you voted for in that district. Donald Trump.
So that's Joey Behar cravenly and witchily saying that these people deserved what happened to them. To have their air poisoned, their water poisoned, their children poisoned, their lives poisoned, to have their houses destroyed. Who's going to buy a property in East Palestine in this century? Of course, nobody. That's who. So Joe Behar is saying you deserve it because you voted for Trump. The absolute banality of evil, ladies and gentlemen. You saw it personified. Shockingly, the people who were defending the sweet working class individuals, victims in East Palestine, came from a very unlikely source, a CNN commentator named Nina Turner, who by every measure of her Twitter handle is quite woke, was a champion for the people of East Palestine and went on a tirade on CNN defending them from the predations of evil, vindictive, rodent Joy Behar, and she did a great job. I've never recommended that you watch a CNN clip like this one. Watch.
Both of you, Nina Turner, you are a daughter of Ohio. I know you've been to East Palestine.
Yes.
Do you think that the administration is doing enough?
No. The state administration is not doing enough. I'm not pleased with Governor Mike DeWine, who actually drunk some of the water, giving people confidence that that water is okay, when in fact that EPA didn't do the deepest dive that they can do to deal with the carcinogens that are there, the air, the water. No, and when I went there, and I saw both fear and anger in the eyes of the people there. I had a local guide. His name is John. He grew up in and around that area, and also Jess. And I got a chance to talk to some of the people. And one lady that I talked to, she said, I never want to see another vehicle carrying chemicals come through my community again. And so while you have some on the GOP side saying less government, you have the residents of East Palestine saying that government is not doing enough. And they have been, not just them, they have been failed by subsequent many administrations. It's not just the Trump administration. It was the Obama administration. Now it's the Biden administration. So now we have the facts. They're out there. The NTSB said this could have been avoided. Mm-hmm. The thing is, what are we going to do to solve the short-term and the long-term needs of the people? And then just one more point. Yeah. For the neoliberals who say that the residents of that area deserve what they are getting because they voted for President Donald J. Trump, it is abhorrent. Mm. This is about poverty. This is about poor, working class white people who are enduring some of the same things that poor, working class black people endure, whether it's Flint, Cleveland, or Jackson, Mississippi. And so I want to lay it out. The cultist behavior in politics right now, it is a sin and a shame that when people are suffering to this magnitude, you got people who will fix their mouths, to quote my grandmother, to say that they are getting what they deserve. What they deserve is clean air, clean food, clean water. They deserve relief, both in the short term and also in the long term.
She's right. Nina Turner, East Palestine Mayor Biden, a slap in the face going here. Here's the corporate press. Biden fiddles in Ukraine as border infrastructure burn. Ladies and gentlemen, from Real Clear Politics, Nina Turner going in hard on Twitter. This is what real populism looks like. Remember, Bernie is a populist, ladies and gentlemen, just a socialist populist. I'm not trying to stand for Bernie Sanders, but I am trying to say that his brand is more honest than the brand of the modern-day corporate Democrat. Did you vote for Trump? You deserve clean air and water. Did you vote for Biden? You deserve clean air and water. Did you not vote? You deserve clean air and water. Human rights, human rights. Nina Turner. From Flint to Cleveland to East Palestine, there's corporate war on the poor and working class people. Corporations are poisoning our air and water. not paying living wages. Fine. Politicians from both parties, enable them. Good for her. Calling out your own side. This is her Twitter handle here. When you care more about defending the Secretary of Transportation than the well-being of places like East Palestine, Ohio, you've lost sight of what matters. Public officials should be held responsible. They do not need cheerleaders going in hard about the amount of standing that the corporate press is doing. Their lips surgically attached to Pete Buttigieg's behind. Where is the statement from the Department of Secretary or Secretary Pete regarding the Ohio train derailment in East Palestine? How can something like this happen and federal officials remain silent? He jokes about balloons while ignoring East Palestine, Ohio. We deserve better than this. Good for her. Way to go. I kicked her a follow, actually, because of these tweets. Because I'm very interested in people who are willing to criticize their own side and are not brain-dead NPCs. I think that's really important. Speaking of being criticized, Pete Buttigieg was criticized quite harshly for what? Blaming Trump when he went to East Palestine, Ohio, a day after Trump did, and only because Trump did.
He's been Secretary of Transportation for 2 years now. How long can you blame the Trump administration for all your failures?
Let me say this. I will take responsibility for how I do my job. It is time for the Trump administration alumni to take responsibility for their deregulation and join us in calling for us all as a country to reverse course.
Okay, well, why don't you just reverse course, Brett?
Why don't you take any blame? Because these people are, of course, utterly and cravenly without shame. They don't care. East Palestine and the people in it were not the favored poor. They were not the demographics that vote for Democrats, and therefore those people can suffer and die for all they care. They just want power. And these people, to give them no power, they take away their power. So those people can live inside of a toxic chemical sewage dump. And we think that's wrong. And so we fight, ladies and gentlemen, for a better America. And we are even willing to join forces with people like Nina Turner, who probably don't agree with us on a lot of stuff, but certainly do agree with us on the populist maxims that people deserve clean air and water and land to live on, and that they don't deserve to be used as political chemical test babies for sick corporations who are trying to cover up their misdeeds. It is amazing. You're starting to see sort of the crossover here, the populist versus the globalist, the person who cares about America versus the corporatist, America first versus America last. I think there's some really neat intersections that can happen, and I'm for that. I'm for that. I'm for anyone who can be honest and anyone who defends our fellow Americans, as we do on this show every single day. Thank you for watching. My name is Benny. See ya. Thank you for watching. Our channel is here to meme the libs until they cry and then to meme them crying. They're tears. They taste just like sweet, delicious ice cream. Salty, too. We ridicule the establishment and the libs because of you. Your support keeps us going. So if you like what you saw, please punch the subscribe button, click like, and ring the little bell so that you know when we're live. Don't you want to know when we're live? And make sure that you subscribe to our email list just in case the plug gets pulled, as tends to happen. If you want to see more of our videos, click here or here. My name is Benny Johnson. Stay free, Base Patriots.